when talking about plyometrics and speed and agility stuff, it's important to know what exactly we're talking about. Now, the consensus out there is that when you're talking about plyos, power training, speed and agility training, you're mainly thinking about muscles and their ability to contract, and you're talking high rate of force development, you're talking stretch reflex, your muscles' ability to lengthen and shorten really fast and get the energy that's stored from that stretch and using it, what we call stretch reflex. So that's kind of the common consensus out there as to what exactly we're talking about when it comes to this plyometric speed and agility training. Now, I want to offer a little bit of a different perspective. It doesn't take anything away from that perspective, and I think that perspective still holds true and something we should focus on, but I want to talk about a little bit of something different, and that starts with what we're fundamentally made of. As humans, we're mostly fluid and water, and we hold most of that fluid and water, boom, right here in our guts. So in this perspective, when we're talking plyos, we're talking about jumping, we're talking about change of direction, we're talking high rates of force. That fluid in our guts is going to impact those things we do. So just for an example, we have all these internal forces of our guts and the fluid that is held within them flowing every which way, and then when we add higher rates of force to that, that just causes these internal pressures and forces to ramp up even more. So when you typically see somebody landing from a jump with their knees caving in, typically we're thought of, oh, they lack strength in their glutes and they can't get their knees out hard. I don't think that is necessarily true. I think that is more of a cause of when we land from a jump, we have all this internal fluid in our guts that's ramping down and it's applying a lot of pressure straight down. And the people that can't control that and can't get their pelvis in a position to catch that water, catch that pressure, and then reorient it, or just able to maintain that pressure and that fluid just keeps going down, which causes their pelvis to kind of drop and their knees to cave in. So I think that's more of an example of someone not being able to control this internal kind of chaos of fluid and maintain that when they're landing from a jump. So if I'm talking about a jump where I'm jumping straight up, or I'm landing from a jump and trying to rebound straight up, someone who might demonstrate the ability to do kind of control these internal pressures and fluids really well, as somebody that is going to be able to get their pelvis in a position when they land to control and accept that fluid, accept that internal pressure at the bottom, and then reorient that fluid and pressure back up, which is going to kind of give them that springiness back up. Same thing if you look at from a change in direction standpoint. If someone's going to, say, a 5-10-5, a pro agility, if they're going to plant and cut, somebody that can't manage those internal pressures, all that fluid and all that pressure is going to keep pushing them this way, and they're not going to be able to get down and change direction really fast. So you can kind of think of a wave crashing against a wall or against a shore. Not only does that water and pressure come straight up, but it also comes straight down. So if someone's having trouble changing direction, they're likely getting here. All that water and fluid is boom, getting slammed this way, and it's changing directions, and that's causing them to kind of get straight up out of their cut. So basically, the good thing is when talking about exercises that we can program as far as in a plyometric speed and agility perspective or context, the good thing is not a whole lot. You don't really have to think of this if you're performing the exercises. As a coach, when we program these things, we're setting athletes and clients up in a way where they don't have to think about that, and we're setting them up where the exercise itself is taking care of their ability to kind of manage these internal pressures and fluids. I know this kind of seems out there, but it doesn't take too long to think about how this can impact performance from this perspective. So think about just when you eat a big meal and you come in, try to do explosive training after you eat a Thanksgiving dinner. Likely your performance is going to be greatly diminished. So I just want to kind of offer that as an example to just kind of start getting you to think and conceptualize this idea of internal fluids affecting our speed and agility and plyometric output. So again, when we're jumping, that's causing an even more chaotic an environment of those internal fluids in our guts. So we have to be able to manage these and reorient them in a way in the direction we want to go. And that's what's going to help us create that high force output. And that's what's going to help us perform at higher levels when it comes to speed, agility, and plyometric training. And our goal with this program is to develop and kind of give you low-level exercises to work on first, and getting better at managing these internal fluids and pressures, and then ramping that up to a little bit higher levels where you're getting a little bit more dynamic and you're creating a little bit more of a chaotic environment internally. And the goal is, if you can do that from a base kind of level 1 standpoint, and as we get to more dynamic and chaotic environments, that base from level 1 and those kind of foundational tools you learned from that lower level drills, you can help apply those to kind of higher level, more dynamic and more chaotic environments from a plyometric speed and agility standpoint.